Hi everybody, I am back and welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna push this further back so my head doesn't look so big. It still looks big. I have a huge head, but I'm a very big, tall person. Anyway, so I have some splaining to do. Okay, here it is. This is the God awful truth, okay? Every time I do some really amazing research and I have a really good idea, if I don't, and I write everything. Also, my lighting is a real, I don't know. Anyway, I do my own research and then I write about it, and I always write about it on my pads of paper. And the reason why I do is so that I can remember stuff better, and it helps me I know this isn't public speaking, but it kind of is, and it's more scary. Anyway, but when I do that, if I don't come right here and tell you guys about my research and say what I did, I lose it. I kid you not. I have three different, they're kind of like journals, but I have three different places. I have this, it's called the Happy Planner, my all-time favorite thing to write on. And so I'll write here, and that's how I did like the last three videos, except for, the Joseph Jensen. Then I also have two more. I have a smaller version of this that I use in my Happy Planner, and then I have this spiral back journal that I will use. I don't know what happened to it, but I know I wrote it down because I remember writing it. The article, all of my research on that is gone. It is literally, and I'm laughing just because this happens to me so much. It's gone. I have no clue, no idea where it is, but I also remember, I know that I wrote it down because there's no way I could just not write it down and not say anything to you guys. You know what I mean? So very, very weird. Then the other thing is that I was like, okay, change of topic. So I pulled out my book that I want to talk to you guys about. Pulled it out, set it on this desk that I use. It's an antique desk, and I use it to put my television on in my living room. And then where the feet are supposed to go, I have a basket there for toys and books and stuff for my grandkids when they come. And I put it on that. It's gone, literally. So then I went back and looked on the shelves because I thought, well, maybe I have false memory on that. It's not on any of my shelves. And I know I didn't loan it out to someone. Stop loaning books out to people because they never freaking return the books. Never. And it drives me bananas. So anyway, I prefer to go and buy them and be like, here, I'll send it to you from Amazon. Anyhow. So I don't have a book to show you, but I read this book about twice a year. And it's very important to me, and it's very dear to my heart. So I want to talk about it today because normally I do every few weeks. I don't know if you guys have noticed, every maybe couple months or so, I will do a mental health check. And it has been a while since I've asked you guys, how are you? And I really, really mean this with all of my heart. I'm very, very genuine about it. And so let me start off with this first. Okay, so I am naturally a happy person, but I had to do a lot of self-development and a lot of growth in order to realize that I am a naturally happy person. When I was growing up, when I was younger, I was a happy, I was a happy child, but I also had a lot of pain, like emotional pain going through my life. My mom, and it's not because of her or any of that. My mom was a single mom, and, she did everything. She did everything by the book that she's, supposed to, or what society says you're supposed to do. And my mom was a really young mom. Sadly, there is no replacement for a father in the home. And my mom did everything she could to, be there for me. And she was. My mom was and is a very attentive mom. She loves her kids. She is devoted. She has devoted her entire life to raising her kids. And until I was 10, she did it all by herself. And that is no easy task. She also was going to school at the same time that she was raising me. And, I'm going to get really emotional because she's such an amazing mom. Anyway, so I am a naturally happy person, and I think I got that from my mom. I think that just, some things just kind of is in your DNA. Some things you get it from one parent, some things you get it from another parent in the genetic make of things. And then other things you just have to discover on your own as well. So anyway, and after getting to know my daddy, he is actually a naturally happy person too. But anyway, so this is why I ask you guys every once in a while, how are you? Because it's very, very dear to my heart. I've known people throughout my life that have, how do I say this on YouTube or around kids, have not been able to endure life and their physical and their mental the physical and mental realm of this planet. And they have, taken their life, and it has always affected the people that they leave behind. And me being a empath, it is very, very difficult for me because I always think, what could I have done? And I think it's natural for everybody to think that too, especially when they're, one of your dearest friends. And so I'm very, very passionate about this, and especially within the paranormal community, whether it be, I call para weird like anything from angels to demons to fairy and the fae folk to trolls and any experience in between, right? And people that have a tendency to see things and to experience things that others around you are not aware of and do not see, it's harder. And we in this community, and I mean the observers, not just the people that do all the research or whatever, it is harder for us. And I don't know the exact psyche on that and the reasons behind that, but it is harder. And so that's why I ask. And I'm very, very passionate about, if you need anybody to talk to, I'm always here. So with that being said, this also goes into the same topic as my book, or as the book that I wanted to talk about. So, unfortunately, I don't have that book, but let me tell you what it's called. It's called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He is my favorite. I love him as much as I love Mr. Rogers, and that is a lot. So what I did with this book is I turned it into a talk at work. And a lot of people liked it. I actually did a PowerPoint on it, and people just really, really loved it. So I wanted to share. I don't have the pictures up. I don't have the PowerPoint up, but I want to share with you this about this book. Okay, so I'm going to start at the beginning. This is what I wrote. Happiness. Finding optimistic views in a very difficult situation. So Viktor Frankl, in his book Man's Search for Meaning, was expressing to his reading audience. The book is about his experience in Auschwitz. And he talks a little bit about how he got there, and then what happened. And then he doesn't go into deep talking about what happened at Dachau. But he was really excited when he found out, when they were taking him from Dachau to Auschwitz. They were so excited. And the reason why they were so excited was because prisoners were better fed there, which was horrible anyway. And they didn't have a gassing building. They didn't gas people at Auschwitz. They just made them suffer. So he, in his book, he talks about how he was able to find ways of making himself happy and not focus on sad, and how he was able, because he was a psychoanalyst and he was a psychiatrist, but he was also a medical doctor, and he practiced in Salzburg, and I think he went to Salzburg and or Vienna University for his degrees. And sorry, I have to take a drink of my coffee. Sorry about that. So, what he realized is, because he was a medical doctor, when someone had, how do I put this? When someone had could not handle it anymore at the concentration camps, he would be asked to, I guess more or less, if it was a self-deletion, he would have to explain. So he had a lot more work to do if somebody had self-deleted, as opposed to somebody had been killed by a prison guard, or had been killed or murdered by someone at the camp. Sorry. And so he would have to sit with some of these people for suicide watch. And he explained it a lot better than I could, but he explained why he had to. But the Nazis wanted to keep these people alive. They didn't want them to kill themselves. But at the same time, he understood why these people would want to die. I'm sorry, this is a really, really dark. I thought it would be rainbows and lollipops, but I'm realizing it's a really, really dark thing to talk about. So sorry if you're parents, you might want to talk about this or you might want to watch it before your kids are in the room. You're the parent, not me. Anyway, so I have to go back. Okay. So when they discovered, right, that they were going to be in Auschwitz, the prisoners had to stand at attention, and they ended up having to stand at attention in the freezing cold all night because they just started laughing. And the reason why they were laughing was they were so happy that they weren't going to a place where they were getting gassed. And because they could not contain their happiness that they knew that they were not going to get gassed, they could not stop laughing. So as a punishment, they had to stand all night outside in the freezing cold rain. But he described it as it wasn't really a punishment. We didn't care at that point. We were just so happy that we weren't going to get gassed. Now, mind you, let me talk a little bit about Viktor Frankl. So he was he was in Vienna. He was born in 1905. And at 15, he went to the university where he was Sigmund Freud's understudy. And he just admired Sigmund Freud. But Viktor Frankl wanted to do more of studying the existentialism. And he wrote a lot about existentialism. And so he published this book that he wrote. The Nazis confiscated that book. And then his pregnant wife was gassed in Auschwitz. So here's the thing. They had Auschwitz gassing for a while, and then they did away with gassing in Auschwitz for some reason or another. And I forgot the history on that. But anyway, so then he was sent to Dachau to work to death. While in concentration camp, he started writing a book. It was called Say Yes to Life. Saying Yes to Life. And so then he survived a lot. I don't want to say a lot, but he survived a couple of concentration camps. And then what happened is when he was free from going there to Auschwitz, and when the concentration camp prisoners were released from prison, some of them had no idea what they were going to do. But what he did was he walked home back to Vienna, and he walked back to the place that he lived all of his life to find that there were no survivors. He had no surviving relatives. And what he found really, really sad at the end of the book, he talks about it. He's like, not one person noticed that I was gone. Not one person noticed that I was in a concentration camp. Not one neighbor. And he had been there, all of his life. Not one person noticed. And he was like, wow, nobody noticed. And I just found that really sad. But anyway, so how did Viktor Frankl find happiness in this concentration camp? He found meaning to life. He found meaning. And for him, he talked about his meaning was trying to keep other people alive. And he would ask them, when they would tell him, I want to be eliminated from this life. This is terrible. He asked them, do you have any meaning in your life? What do you have to look for? So then the other thing he said was he found ways to be grateful. So an example would be if he didn't have fleas on him, because most of the concentration camps, they did have fleas, he was grateful that he didn't have fleas. He was grateful that he knew enough about medicine to know how to not have fleas and lice. And then he also had a good attitude. He was able to find a good attitude in the worst of the worst conditions that we will never, ever, hopefully never, ever be able to even comprehend or even think of. And then he was able to find humor. The story that I just told you a few minutes ago about how him and the other prisoners were just so happy that they laughed and laughed. They could not stop laughing when they realized that they were not going to be gassed, because for some reason or another, and I think it's because they just had too many. They had so many people in the concentration camps that they had to close down. There was one reason why they had to close down Auschwitz. I can't remember what it was, but I definitely think it was a tactic there to try to hide it from the Americans, because the Americans were really coming in on them. Anyway, so then people don't have a meaning to life. They lose their will to live. Time after time, he found that people would lose all hope when they did die. If they did not self-delete, a lot of people dying and falling over dead was because they lost all hope. And something, I 100% probably would have been there too. I would have lost hope. I don't know a lot of people that wouldn't lose hope, but he also decided to talk about letting sadness go. So there are these Thailand candle lights that are released in the sky, and they believe that it releases the sadness away. And so once a year they have these candlelit these candle lights that they light up, and then some cultures in the eastern part of Asia will actually write certain things on there for wishes or whatever, but then they will release that into the sky, and that's supposed to take the sadness away. Then he talks about a couple of other things. Take care of yourself. He talks about counting your blessings. He talks about laughing. And this is another interesting thing. So my dad, the man who adopted me, my dad, he is or was a psychologist. And I have a bunch of brothers and sisters that are psychologists or are counselors in the psychology field. And anyway, my dad has always practiced this, to meditate or to pray. So as long as you believe in a higher being than yourself, it doesn't have to be God. It doesn't have to be, as long as you believe in a higher being than yourself, and you are acknowledging, praying, meditating, studies have proven that it actually helps your health. And then he also talks about doing the things that you love to do. So I love doing this. This is 100% a hobby. I love doing research on what I'm going to talk about. I crochet. You've seen a couple of videos of those. I love to read. I love to write. I have journals upon journals. I was just thumbing through this one. This is just everything that happened to me from, I'll give you the actual date. May 12th of 2014. And the last time I wrote in this was April 2015. So normally I write in it every day, and I usually take up 3 pages. This time I was a little bit slow, but I have a whole bunch of other books or other journals that I've been writing in. And lately, because of some sad feelings and things that I'm trying to work through in my personal life, I've been writing about that. I've been writing about my feelings. I've been writing about, I've been writing letters to people that I've been grateful for or that I've had a sad experience from. I'm sorry I'm laughing. It's just, that's how I deal with awkwardness. Anyway, and so, and it's helped me. I've written a couple of letters to people that I never intend for them to ever read. So I write it in my journal. And then I write my kids all the time in my journal. Tell them how much I love them. Tell them, a lot of my memories about them. Some of the funny things that their kids have said. I write it in my journal so that one day, I don't know, they may not want my journals. If they don't, hey, kids, please just burn my journals if you don't want them. But don't burn them in the house. Like, make a really nice bonfire for them, okay? I mean, promise me. Like, don't read them either, okay? Okay. So, find something that you love to do. And, find your happiness that way. And then also reach out to people, reach out to someone. Like I said, I don't care that I don't know you. Sometimes it's easier to open up to someone that is a stranger. I'm by all means not a therapist. So I can't fix your problems, okay? There's no way that I can fix your problems. But I am happy to listen. I am happy to lend an ear. Anyway, so I hope you guys liked this. I hope you go out and buy Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Very, very, very good book. And I have to find my research so that I can do this other one that I need to do, okay? Have a good day. Take care. Be kind. Be grateful. Be happy. I hope you guys are happy. And I come in peace. I go in peace. I will be back here in a couple of days. That is a for sure thing. I want to get one out on Friday, either Friday or Saturday. And as soon as I get 100 subscribers, I will I'm going to figure out something really fun. But I think I'm going to do a live stream. And then I have a really, really, really fun idea with that. So come back here and we'll do something fun. I'm hoping that, so if I reach 100, like let's say on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, I would prefer to do a live stream on either Saturday or Sunday or even Friday evening, something like that. Because you guys are, you guys have a life too. So anyway, something to just kind of think about. And I hope everybody just has a marvelous, marvelous weekend. Also, another thing that I want to say is, well, I will say it in another video. You guys take care. Have a good day. Bye.